What's going on, Five Star fam? AJ here with your player ratings, and it's 5 consecutive clean sheet wins. It's an MLS record for the Five Stripes, and this had a kind of trap game written all over it, and especially with the heavy rotation that we thought that might happen. It wasn't as heavy as we thought without Darlington Nagbe, without Michael Parkhurst making the trip to Vancouver, and instead there was a Pogba sighting, a Miram sighting, and I think it was a very successful night overall for the rotation coming in. So let's get right into it then. So Brad Guzan between the sticks, for me, he didn't have a ton to do for most of the match, but when he was called upon, he made the saves that were necessary, and so I think he gets a 7 for this match, and he keeps that clean sheet, and we get that record. So good on him and good on the team. And moving over to right back, Franco Escobar, his industry tonight was just immense as always, and you just always have him as that outlet on the right, and he was stout defensively as well, and so also a 7 for Franco Escobar. I think, spoiler alert, these might be a little bit very similar to each other because there weren't too many goals, and there honestly in the first half not a ton was happening. But moving on to LGP, who got the start as the right center back tonight instead of Miles Robinson. He had a up and down night. I mean, it was he was winning some free kicks here and there. His distribution wasn't as steady as he usually is. So for me, I think he is a 6.5 for this match. Now Florentine Pogba coming in, his first start for the Five Stripes, and he looked very stout indeed. But it's what you expect from a guy coming in. But what's pretty crazy is that he has not made a start in a first team since May 6th, 2018. That's over a year, and that's kind of insane. So those that were clamoring for him to start, that's the last time he played a meaningful match and started. That's insane. But good to see that distribution from him. Good to see him really just kind of bossing guys off of the ball and seeing balls out very thoroughly. I think we have a guy that, in this small sample size, looks defensively stout and looks like a guy that can rotate in and possibly start if needed. And he definitely showed that tonight. So for him, he gets a 7 from me as well. Over to Breck Shea at left back. I think this was one of his best matches that he's had in an Atlanta United uniform. Next to that Herediano match where he had, I believe, a couple of assists in that one. But this one, just steady, really, and he wasn't losing the ball too much. He put in some good crosses, and he was, at times an outlet on the left and wasn't really exposed too much. Made a pretty crucial stop in the box, in the penalty box, when a ball that could have been dangerous, could have been a through ball. It could have been quite different, but if that had gone through, because that guy probably could have squared it, and it would have been on. They would have been in. And so for Breck Shea, he gets a 7.5 for a well-played match. And I know he's much maligned, but I think you got to give credit where he's due, and he definitely played well. Now on to the middle with Jeff Loretowitz coming on for Darlington Nagbe, and I think for him, as steady as ever. He's one of those guys that makes the interceptions, makes the blocks, and definitely is just always running around or in the middle of that kind of splitting the center back look when we're in possession. So kind of quiet night for him, and I think that's what you want from a defensive midfielder, and so he gets a 7 for me. Now, Eric Remedi didn't look as steady as he usually has, and I think that's a little bit of missing Darlington Nagbe, but I think still, and steady, I mean on the ball. I mean, he had to kind of do the Darlington Nagbe role a little bit tonight, and he looked a little bit out of place. I think it's just when Darlington Nagbe's out of the side, it just is very, very hard for us to pass between the lines. I think early on it didn't look quite as good, but I think later on it got more fluid, and we were able to find P.T. Martinez a lot more. But Eric Remedi on the defensive side of it was still very, very solid. And I think a kind of 6.5, 6.8-ish for me. I think he, just had, it was a little bit, kind of shaky in the beginning. But moving on to the left wing, we have Justin Mira making his first start for the Five Stripes. I think it was a little quiet for him on that left side. You could see that he was trying to build some chemistry with Shea. His touches were a little bit off, but he was trying to kind of find those balls, those forward balls for Joseph Martinez. Had a couple of crosses that could have found a guy on another day, but I think overall, just a little bit off his game, and came off early. So I think a 6.5 for me. Now on to P.T. Martinez. And he was the one that won that penalty for us in the box. Some might say it's soft or whatnot. I don't think it really was. I think he definitely earned it, and they were foolish enough to contact him, to put some contact on him in the box, and I think he rightly so. You go down. And so throughout the match, he was bossing the match on the ball. He was very clean and tidy in possession, and he'll have a pop here and there. They were a little errant like they can be, but I think they weren't as close as they've been in previous matches, but I think it was also further out, and also not free kicks. So so he had a steady match, and I think around 7 for me for P.T. Martinez. Now over to Tito Villalba on the right. Very kind of, he was getting in, and he had those chances, and he just couldn't finish it. I mean, it's just one of those Tito Villalba, it's a very Tito Villalba match. He shows his pace. It's just, he can break away from anybody, but then it's that one-on-one. It can be feast or famine for him sometimes. And for this match, I mean, he got himself into the positions, and he can really just break open a team so easily, but his finishing touch was just not there. And I think it's a 6.5 for me for this match. He also came off early, I think, with an eye for New York Red Bulls as well. Now on to Joseph Martinez. He's playing that false 9 striker role a lot more now. He's dropping deeper. He's getting more involved in the play, and that's great to see. That's he is putting the right ball, like the weight of ball is just immaculate. Like the dribbling that he's always had is just really tremendous. And he put away his penalty aplomb. No hop this time. And I think with the game winner, he gets an 8, and kind of a guy that you could just rely on so much to just put away his chances. But it was interesting though. Early on in the game, he kind of laid one off for Jeff Lorenowitz to shoot in the box when he probably could have arguably taken it himself. And I think maybe you want to see him be a little bit more selfish at times, and maybe take it one time and whatnot. But I think still either way, he gets the game winner, and we walk away with 3 points because of him. So I think 8. He gets the man of the match for me. Now, moving on to the subs, I think, you know, they weren't really able to do too much. So, you know, Gressel, and you have also Dion Pereira and Miles Robinson. I think they all across the board get a 6. They saw out the match very well. There's a lot of some of that shithousery that we were doing, some of that dark arts that see out a match like this, and so it's very interesting to see kind of how, you know, how we can win ugly as well. It's a good sign. But yeah, also, so moving on to Frank de Boer, and I think he you know, for the most part got his tactics spot on in this match. I mean, really, he you know, got the rotations right. We got the goal that we needed. We also saw earlier rotation and earlier substitutions rather than we usually see from him. And yeah, it saved some of the legs. I might have wanted to see Joseph Martinez maybe, you know, get his legs saved a little bit, but you know, you can only make 3 subs, and you know, I think you want a guy that in the middle that has to maybe do arguably a little bit more running with PT Martinez, maybe come out. So you know, I completely understand. All right, guys, so that does it for me. Those are the player ratings. Let us know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Let us know in the comments below. But remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video because it really does help us a lot. And smash that like button. And we'll see you in the next video.